Today we are having two seminars. One seminar by Arvind. He is a second year PhD student. He will be presenting a seminar on agro-terrorism, impact and preventive extension strategies. And one more seminar by Lakshmi R. She is from senior MSc and she will be presenting community-based disaster risk management for climate resilient communities. These are the two seminars that we are going to conduct today. I welcome Arvind now for presentation.
Good morning, Professor and Head Professor, Seniors, Juniors and my friends. Today I welcome you to my first doctoral seminar. Before going to start my seminar, I want to take some quote from Mahatma Gandhi. Non-violence is the greatest force at the disposal of humankind. Where Mahatma Gandhi believed in agriculture, he says it's give life. Mahatma Gandhi says earth provides enough to satisfy every man's needs, but not every man's greed. To attack the earth or its creature is the ultimate violation of his philosophy. Even though Gandhi have fought for ahimsa to enter in life, still some country have been taken as violence as the mass of the destruction. Before going to context in my topic, I want to talk about the biotechnology, agriculture and food security. These are the three main pillars of the agriculture. If one will collapse and everything will be collapsed, where biotechnology do research on high yielding plant varieties and high yielding susceptible to disease and pest, and it leads to sustainable farming like crop improvement and soil health, and it leads to stable nutrition and access and reduced hunger. Before going too deep into my topic, I want to start with what is terrorism. Terrorism is nothing but anything terrifying activity towards an humanitarian or a living organism is known as terrorism. In this terrorism, there is another term called bioterrorism. The word is given by central prevent disease, viruses and fungus towards plants or human beings. Center of Disease and Classification says that categories of A, B, C, they have categorized types of fungus and bacteria can be used as biological agent weapons like anthrax, foot and mouth disease, and in category B like toxic substance like ricins and glanders, and C is upcoming or emerging threat and viruses like COVID-19. Due to lack of evidence, COVID-19 is not considered as a bioterrorism. It is considered as a biological agent. It can be used for a bioterrorism. In the pretext of bioterrorism, agro-terrorism is a subset of bioterrorism. Coming to my topic, agro-terrorism, impact and preventive extension strategies. The flow of seminar goes like this: introduction, impact of agro-terrorism, preventive extension strategies, case studies and research studies, conclusion. Agro-terrorism Agro-terrorism is nothing but intentional release of plant harmful agents or plant toxins and pathogens towards the livestock or plants. The first noted biological warfare history is Assyrians used ergot of rye wheat, which is a disease, to contaminate water. It is early noted in 660 BC. Agro-terrorism, agriculture plays more important in Indian economy. It contributes 1/3 of the global GDP to the country. The why agriculture is soft target because of monoculture practices of crop. Monoculture practices of crop, it hard to detect and there is a minimal infrastructure, and it cause serious effect to agriculture of because of pest and pathogens. Coming to the objectives of the study, the first objective is to explain the concept of agro-terrorism and concept. Coming to second objective, to understand the impact of agro-terrorism. The third objective is to highlight preventative strategies, role of agricultural extension. Background of the study, where documented losses in Israel, 40% citrus export have been lost in Chile due to agro-terrorism attack, which leads of 200 million loss. Tied to food sport and smuggling, animal abuse can release pathogens. During World War, many of the countries have used disease and pathogens to destroy the food systems. This table shows that the early incidents of biological warfare in 1915 to 1917, Germany used anthrax alert draft animals over US, and again Corledo potato beetles used by Germany over UK. This is where the entomological warfare have been started for using the insect in the history. And coming to again beetle attacks on potatoes, Germany over US in 1950, and US biological attacks over US in Cuba, and horses were used for Afghan Mujahideen against the Soviet Union for smuggling of weapons and everything. And in 1983 and 1987, Tamil rebels threatened the crop attacks on Sri Lanka, and Australia got threat of foot and mouth disease. As I said, it is a biological weapon. And in 1996 to 1997, trips flying aircraft used over USA and Cuba, and threat of sewage water fields on Palestinians. As I've said this before, what agro-terrorism means and why agriculture is a soft target. The key targets are livestock and crops. Some pathogens, disease are genetic. It can transmit for animals to humans, and it will lead to high economic impact. And pathogens are naturally occurring and easy to source. These are the definition of agro-bioterrorism according to Food and Agriculture, which means attacks by terrorist or extremist group and aimed at destabilizing food security and national economies. And agro-biocrime is small-scale localized attacks driven by revenge, profit, or sabotage rather than ideological motives by World Health Organization. Under the umbrella term of bioterrorism, these are the key terms and different synonyms of bioterrorism: biocrime, biological warfare, biological weapons, agro-terrorism, and food terrorism as classifications agents of the bioterrorism agents. Coming to this slide shows that India status a critical biosecurity challenge, where India rank in second highest cost bearing for biological inventions worldwide. Annual loss of invasive insect pest causes 1 to 1.5 lakh crore per year. Long term impact is 8.3 trillion over a loss of 60 years. And biosecurity breaches by director of plant quarantine and storage says that 20 to 30 major illegal agriculture imports have been detected in the airport. This graph shows that in 2023, where a number of the biosecurity violation detected in India, and this is the annual income loss in India, which is 1 to 1.5 lakh crore. This table shows the risk and impact indicators of bioterrorism. Annual loss is 70 billion. In India, annual agriculture loss is 1 to 1.5 lakh crore. Over an estimation period of 60 years is 8.3 trillion. Karnataka maize profit margin impacted due to fall armyworm is 35% to 11%, and due to invasive plants like weeds like Parthenium and Latana camara lost the forest ecosystem of 3,831. as I am talking about different type of terrorism, I got to know that there is a new emerging terrorism called narco-terrorism. This is the, as you have known, this news have been flooded with social media and TV channels. He is the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro Moros. He have been charges of narco-terrorism and growing illicit crops banned by domestic across the globe, and he was alleged they conspired with the flood to US with the cocaine, and the main motive of this is addiction, overdoses, gang violence, and long term damage to youths and communities. Coming to according to United Nations, agro-terrorism is a poor man's atomic bomb because of low tech and low cost, and most of the attacks are invisible. Before going to the next topic, Agent Orange Operation Ranched, it was happened in 1962 to 1971. This was the biggest biological weapon used in warfare against Vietnam. The main motive of this war is to destroy forest and agricultural crops and hideouts of the enemies. This is the chart, the toxic legacy of the Agent Orange. As you all can see, this is an uncontaminated map. After spraying spraying herbicide through aerial in 1962-1917, Operation Ranched sprayed 11 to 13 million gallons of spray. Concentration was more. Delivery method is through aircraft. Loss of 20% Vietnam's forest, dense jungle canopies, mangrove forest, and rice paddies and areas. This shows the aerial herbicide spray mission in South Vietnam. Coming to Agents of Orange, it wasn't just it's not just Agent of Orange. It was combinations of Agent Green, Agent Pink, Agent Purple, Agent Blue, Agent White, Agent Orange. They have used a chemical name called 2,4-D, which is herbicide, and 2,4,5-T, which is highly toxic. The delivery methods of Agent Orange was C1 to C123 provider. Here we can see shoulder spraying Agent Orange to the agriculture field. Here we can see barrels of toxins. The main ingredients of Agent Orange was 2,4-D and 2,4,5-T, toxic contamination of dioxin, which appearance orange. These are the long term impact where three generations have been impacted, like birth defects and spina bifida, and cancers, type 2 diabetes, and Parkinson's in early child, and skin disease. Even though that soil is contaminated with this toxic, still 63 people have been suffered from illness today. This toxic affected both sides of the country, US and Vietnam. As you can see, a small clip how Agent Orange have been taken. These are the US soldiers infiltrating to the Vietnam. This is the aerial spraying video.
Sprayed on orange plants, sir.
No, sir, forest, sir.
Forest.
Sir. To destroy density of the forest, because Vietnam soldiers are hiding out in the forest, sir. US soldiers. So biological weapon and conversion taken place. So 180 countries have been signed not to use herbicide like this because of this the Agents of Orange incident. Coming to impact of agrocrime, around 75% of emerging infectious disease affect both animals and humans because of genetic. It can deadly outbreaks like COVID-19, avian flu, and Ebola. Coming to forms and categories of agro-terrorism: crop targeted agro-terrorism, livestock targeted agro-terrorism, food chain and contamination, water and soil contamination that will leads to biohazard. This table shows that plant pathogens used as agro-terrorist weapons were wheat leaf rust used by USA over Soviet Union in 1950. Type shows that the biological warfare, and evaluation shows that double plus shows that it is officially demonstrated and documented, followed by rice blast disease, USA over Japan in 1940 as the biological warfare, but is no evidence. Coming to Colorado potato beetle, biological warfare, Germany over France, limited evidence. And cash and industrial crops, sugar, coffee and tobacco. And illicit crops and ecological emerging threats, leaf blight of opium poppy. It is considered as a biological crime, Uzbekistan over Central Asia, and fusarium wilt biological warfare, officially demonstrated and documented over different countries from UNDCAP. Coming to the anthrax attacks, this slide shows that the anthrax attacks have been codenamed anthrax by FBI. The attacks began on September 18, 2001, just 1 week after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. As I said before, biological agents like uh, the method is they have contaminated spores of anthrax and mailed in letters from Princeton, New Jersey. Target is media office and US senators, where impact is 22 infections and 5 deaths, including 3 postal workers, and agent is Ames strain. This is the first officially documented of anthrax in a biological weapon. As coming to terrorism, agro-terrorism, nothing but a deliberate spread of highly contagious livestock diseases like foot and mouth disease, African swine fever, influenza, influenza, and anthrax. Method is injection, contaminated feed, and infected vectors. Coming to foot and mouth disease, recent outbreaks cases seen in Ernakulam and Kerala, and declining due to vaccination, but prevalence remains high. Its economic impact is 20,000 to 25,000 crore year loss. Milk yields dropped up to 80%. This map shows that the current outbreak of anthrax in India, where Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka, risk factor is linked to due to low vaccination, and some tribal people is eating meat from dead animals, so it is transmissible to animals to human. Coming to preventative measures for import and export of animals, like prevents transboundary of animal disease, and advance NOC health certificate, 30-day quarantine, and strengthen tighter surveillance and streamlined rules. Coming to the food terrorism, it is a documented and biggest US bioterrorist attack in United States. Location is the Dallas and Oregano. The attack named as Rajneesh bioterror attack. Agent was used is salmonella to contaminate contaminated salad bars, where 10 restaurants have been used. Motive of this food terrorism attack is to suppress voters to win the local elections. Impact is 751 ill and 45 hospitalized, but no deaths. But plot failed and led to major biosecurity lessons. While I was searching more for agro-terrorism, I got to know that there is another term called seed terrorism. Seed plays important role in agriculture, food security. No seed, no agriculture. Seed terrorism refers to eco-warfare tactic, deliberate introduction of non-native seeds to harm biodiversity. In 2020, China have been sending mysterious parcel across the world, reported in USA and UK, Canada, and Japan, often mislabeled. Diffused of pathogens carry genes affecting human and animal pathogens. Some plants can trigger allergic reactions. Outcome: native species harms biodiversity. Here is a pic of a farmer in America has grown the seeds in his garden that he has had. In case it is a terminator seed or genetically modified seeds that grow only once and become sterile, forcing farmers to buy new seeds every year instead of saving them. It is an act of terrorism according to farmers towards the corporate companies. Coming to biodiversity shock, invasive seeds and outcome native losses, flora and fauna, entry of noxious weeds like exotic insects and invasive weeds like Parthenium and seed-borne pathogens, national security risk. Because of heat stress, this could lead to insect, nematodes, phytoplasma, bacteria, fungi and viruses and parasitic weeds. This slide shows that the some suspicious seed parcels may contain invasive seeds of alien origins along with noxious weeds like pathogen disease, propagules and insect pests. India is well known for example of Parthenium and Latinacambra of noxious weeds such and water hyacinth. Even though Parthenium came to India in the wheat contamination, whether we don't know it is an act of terrorism or not, they are deliberately introduced or no. Latana is brought by Britishers to decorate purpose, but these two have become very disaster to natural vegetation and causing ecological imbalance. Farmers are spraying more than what they are recommended, that is leading to eco-terrorism and soil contamination. This this flow shows that effect of planting such mysterious seed where starts pollination within the crop, genetic pollination in existing crop and emergence of new seed borne diseases and emergence of new pest and diseases and chances of ecological facilitation, danger to livestock and other animals. Preventative strategies for management of seed terrorism: only allow certified seeds, and ICR and state agriculture universities and KVK have to monitor this kind of activities. There is a legal constitutional act is required and a strict rule for plant quarantine and awareness through social media and capacity building programs. After, as I was mentioned, this insect-based bioterrorism in early World War, where German have been using like entomological warfare in the wars. Insect agro-terrorism is nothing but deliberate use of insects to damage crops, livestock and agriculture system, often targets and leads to food security. Here we can see how insects are used as weapons. Insect can be used in two primary ways: direct damage, introduction of like locust and beetle, disease vector. Some insects carries pathogen and viruses, using insects like a six-legged soldier to carry and spread pathogens. As I have covered earlier before, Germany used correlator potato beetles and plant to crop destruction to cause famine. China China used on Japan unit of 731 spread plague via aerial release. Why insects are effective terrorist tools? Because of low cost, easy of delivery, self-sustaining, economic storage. Most of the insect will cause economic yield. Coming to this slide shows insect pest vectors and recent biological inventions. Insect can damage crop directly. Herbivorous or spread plant livestock diseases as biological vectors. Economic impact is 1 to 1.5 lakh crore, and crop losses pest like the fall armyworm reduce the male yields by 15 to 50%, costing over the 5,000 per year. This slide shows that exotic pest introduction in India. Whether we don't know how it came, but some government defense and research organizations suspect that this is an act of terrorism. This is the fall armyworm which will defoliate the leaves. Entomologist CM Kalleshwara Swami and Sharanam Basappa were detected the first fall armyworm in Shivamogga in maize fields, and after DNA analysis from National Bureau of Agriculture Insect Research confirmed that this is the first fall armyworm detection. Here the author says that while not always confirmed as terrorism, the impact of invasive species mirrors the potential devastation of intentional attack. Coming to this table shows that global status economic impact of invasive species is agro invasion loss is 70 billion and urban loss is 5.7 billion, where harmful species constitutes of 8.6 percentage and total invasive alien species is 91.4. Uh, Coming to the incident, fall armyworm first reported in Karnataka 2018, yield losses up to 43% in non-managed fields, followed by sugarcane woolly leopard. These all are the invasive pests. We don't know how it entered to India, whether it may be air, water, or land, because we are failing in early detection system. That what is happening to this type of terrorism activities. This shows impact in Karnataka invested 61,000 hectares during 2003 and 4, severe juice quality loss. Karnataka status ground zero for key inventions. Karnataka is transboundary pest due to heavy trade and import. This is coffee berry borer, first found in Tamil Nadu, later it was found in western Ghats of the Karnataka, where it alone damage of 2,500 crore in coffee exports. This graph shows that forest ecosystem loss and maize profitability impact. Coming to a case study, exotic pest introduction, yield and return losses from fall armyworm infestation in India. The first outbreak started in Shivamogga, later affected in northern interior region like Dharwad, Belagavi, Haveri, Bagalkot and Gadag, where it is recorded highest infestation levels 28.66, followed by central, south central and coastal hilly regions. Economic impact analysis of Karnataka maize, a modern parallel analysis. Total cultivation cost rose to 69,747 to 63,283, largely due to a 10-fold increase. A net profit margin from maize plummeted from 35 to 90%. Before the invasion, it went to minus 11.71 in non-manageable field. Yield loss reduction of 21.74 quintal per hectare compared to pre-invasion levels. Coming to crop based agro-terrorism, the intentional spread of pest diseases or weed to damage crops and disrupt food security. Method is aerial spraying of force contaminated seeds and introduction of invasive pests like fruit fly and corn smut disease and potato late life and wheat stem rust. Coming to the case study, the 2015 outbreak of cotton leaf curl disease in Punjab, risk of agro-terrorism. This picture shows that the white fly affected region in Punjab. Epidemic levels driven white fly and farmers distress, cited an example of how clandestine agro-terror could appear because of monoculture susceptibility. This have been spread across the Malwa region because of BT cotton hybrids. Economic impact, productivity dropped from 573 lint hectares to 97 kg. Financial losses is 5.4 lakh crore to 41.5 lakh crore. Up to 96% of the farmers in debt. Social toll, some have been farmer suicide reported in Batinda and Manasa districts. This graph shows that there is a sudden dip in 2015 because of the cotton leaf curl disease. Another case study, wheat blast outbreak and ban in West Bengal. Location, Bangladesh, spillover risk in Murshidabad and Nadia, West Bengal, India. Crop affected is wheat because of this wheat blast fungus. Coming to the incident, wheat blast affected 8 districts in Bangladesh and fungus detected in Murshidabad and Nadia, West Bengal. Defense Research and Development Organization studies suggested that possible deliberate introduction but not proven. The precaution taken was 3-year wheat holiday imposed, wheat cultivation banned within 5 km of Bangladesh border. Economic and impact losses are 8,205 tons of wheat were lost and loss range from 5 to 51% with some instance of 100% crop failure. Approximately 15,000 hectares were affected in 2016. Potential regional loss is 5 to 10% reduction in production regions in India. Coming to Indian response biosecurity protocols, India have introduced AI based mobile platform for real time pest monitoring like national pest surveillance system and genetic profiling like director of plant production quarantine storage and defense research develop organization use DNA fingerprinting to distinguish endemic strains from foreign or engineered pathogens. The legislative framework, plant quarantine order, and propose a national biosecurity framework in 2025. This is the app National Pest Surveillance System implemented by Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare with state and district agriculture departments. It can detect early outbreaks of the pest. Coming to international frameworks, where the World Organization for Animal Health and Interpol and tie up with Food and Agriculture Organizations of the United States, building a resilience against agro-crime and agro-terrorism. This was a project implemented in 2019, and the outcome of the project is the Food and Agriculture Surveillance Evaluation Tool set bio threat detection model uses 32 specific indicators to assess a country's ability to detect and investigate unusual animal health events that could indicate agro-terrorism or agro-crime. These are the 7 core categories working in case of outbreak. This shows a graph of bio threat detection model. Coming to survey, where I have surveyed small survey on this topic to assess objective of profile and awareness of agro-terrorism among agricultural students and exceptional professionals, to evaluate institutional trust and to identify key strategies and training needs to strengthen biosecurity and extension services for agro-terrorism and preparedness. Demographics of the respondents of the survey, where 65% belong to 26 to 35 years and 67% of are male. Coming to education, where 57% are PhD scholars. Occupation, 67% are students, where 82% of having experience in agriculture or extension is below 5 years. Awareness and about agro-terrorism, while I have sent some Google forms, many of them called me and asked about this agro-terrorism. They don't know the awareness of this concept. Before filling, they have went through Google and search and given the survey, where most of them have agreed to status of intentional introduction of pest diseases can damage livestock, followed by livestock disease introduction intentionally can spread rapidly, and agro-terrorism can increase farmer distress. Preventative extension strategies, where most of them have agreed to statement on early warning and surveillance are essential, followed by use of ICT tools can help early detection of the outbreak, and 77% of them have agreed to extension workers play an important role in prevention. This table shows that institutional trust coordination among agencies is necessary, where 24 have been strongly agreed. And coming to the statement, if you notice an unusual pest or disease outbreak, whom will you report to first? They have agreed to report to local agriculture office. Coming to a review paper, Agro-Terrorism and its prospect economic impact on India. The 3 objects I have taken from resource from this paper, and I have already explained. Now we are going to study about preparedness and resilience against agro-terrorism threats. Another term is cyber agro-terrorism. Hacking agriculture portal and hacking IoT drone system can damage crops. Market manipulation of enum, where farmers don't get the accurate price how they are selling in the online. This can lead to declaration of national food grain production. where coordinated cyber attack manipulates Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana insurance claim records during a drought and falsifies Enam Mandi data to show low arrivals. Coming to border and transit vulnerabilities, most of the terrorist attacks, agro-terrorism attacks have been happening due to porous land borders, which covers for 4,960 kilometer India Bangladesh, allows the frequent informal movement. In this, some enemies will use contaminated plants, seeds. As you can see, the reality of Indian border, how one vlogger can easily enter to Bangladesh border. This is the major vulnerable to the India. While I am not defying my country, but this is the reality of Indian border surveillance. Most of the terrorist events are happening through this. Key dimension of agro-terrorism risk: contaminated seeds, poisoned water, pest, vector release, and livestock smuggling. Case studies and scenarios, global case studies. These are the two Chinese scientists, Yong King Jain and Zhang Eng Liu, smuggled Fusarium germium into US lab without permits. It will cause wheat rise, head blight, and produce mycotins, which will be harmful for as well as humans, where this pathogen can survive even though after value addition process. FBI agents declared that it is an potential agro-terrorism agent. Coming to American chestnut blight, where accidental parasitic via imported Chinese nut samplings are destroyed across 30 million acres by 1940, which led to destruction of habitat loss. As of now, there is no legislative law in India, no dedicated law specific related to agro-terrorism like the US. Poor interagency coordination like health, agriculture, and veterinarian. As there is no data fragmentation and absence of centralized real-time agro-terrorism reporting and data sharing platform across ICR, state labs, and districts. Coming to the recommendation and strategies for preparedness: strengthening biosurveillance and early warning, enhancing border and customs control, building agrobiological defense infrastructure, training and capacity building, cyber security protocols for agri-tech tools. Coming to the strengthening of biosurveillance and early warning, we have to create a national agro-biothreat unit, and genomic surveillance involves monitoring genetic changes in pathogens to help scientists track the spread of pathogen, how it is changing, and how those changes may affect in public health. Community reporting in train KVKs and village volunteers to report unusual crop or livestock events. Building agrobiological defense infrastructure, increase ICR plant pathology biosafety labs, where the key areas like Punjab, West Bengal, and maintain ready reservoirs of wheat blast fungicides and vaccines for foot and mouth disease. Mobile rapid response units, deploy 50 MRRUs with PPE kit, sampling and decontamination kits within 24 hours of the suspected incident. Training and capacity building for extension officer for biosafety certification, a 5 days of training program needed for identification of pest as well as pathogens, and awareness of farmers, law enforcement training, enhancing border and customs control, smart cytosentry checkpoints using like X-ray images, and a unified quarantine system and bilateral agro security, training program for sustainability, and incident response team, user awareness, training farmers and agri entrepreneurs on facing risk and strong passwords and timely software updates. Coming to a research paper, the research conducted by Ichuku et al. In 2003, agro-tourism push factor in Ebonyi state. Research design adopted as multi-stage random sampling. Stage 1, 2 locally grown areas randomly selected from 3 agricultural zones. Stage 2 communities randomly selected from each local governed area where consists of 12 communities. Stage 3 20 farmers selected per community, giving sample of size of 240 farmers. Data collection is structured interviews for literate response and interview schedules for illiterate respondents. Instrument designs or tools were sanctioned according to the study objectives. This table shows that the distribution of responding according to factor influencing agro-terrorism in the study era. Most of them are influencing factor of inadequate security, followed by herdsman farmers conflict and unfavorable agriculture policies. This Ebony state comes under multidimensional poverty index, below index, where they don't get what they want to sustain the life. They are facing so much of livelihood vulnerabilities because of some community factors and social conflicts. They are doing various agricultural crimes, and Ebony state recognize this an act of terrorism. Before conclusion, not not every war are failed in the borders. Some war are failed in the field of agriculture. We have to be prepared, like introducing early detection models and training farmers as well as extension officers. Food security is the national security. I want to end my seminar by stating quote from Nelson Mandela: "Peace is not just the absence of conflict. Peace is the creation of environmental where all can flourish." Thank you.
Thank you, Arvind. So you have given an important topic.
Yes.
So got a lot of information. Lot of informations were thoroughly discussed.
Yes.
So we know that agro-tourism is important because
Yes.
so our country is agricultural country.
Yes.
So we depend on agriculture for our economy.
Yes, sir.
So if it is adapted,
Everything will.
entire country is going to be suffered. So you have brought a very good concepts, bio concepts and other things. So congratulations. Now the topic is discussion from the students. Now it is over to students. Student, please.
Is there any difference between biopiracy and agro-terrorism?
Biopiracy mostly deals with patent. I think there is a lot of difference between biopiracy and agro-terrorism. Agro-terrorism is an separate event which will be using of biological agent. Biopiracy is like something stealing the ideas, as said by Deepa in a previous seminar. As this topic is new to me, for me also, where I don't know whether I convert or not, but I try to convert the topic.
Sequentially and logically you can.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But these all are the hypothetical studies. Sir. Government of India not have declared any terrorism, agro-terrorism events, only suspected, sir.
Now, after listening your talk, definitely that the component is very much there and it is very much necessary now
Yes.
to take quarantine.
Yes.
Actually, you brought all the PPTs.
Yes.
I told you, you don't make this terrorism as hero.
Yes, sir.
That's why I suggested him to put Gandhiji and Nelson Mandela photo. You be cautious about this process.
Yes.
Don't become hero.
Yes.
ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಗ್ಲೋರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ.
Okay.
Students,
ಇದು ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್, ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಎಮರ್ಜಿಂಗ್ ಹಾಂ ಸರ್.
ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಒನ್.
ಹಾಂ ಸರ್, ಇದು ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್. ನಾರ್ಕೋ ಟೆರರಿಸಮ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಎಮರ್ಜಿಂಗ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಸರ್. ಇದು
ಸರ್ ಸಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದ ನೀವೇ?
ಸರ್ ಸಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಮೇಡಮ್. ಇದು ನಾರ್ಕೋ ಟೆರರಿಸಮ್ ಅಂತ ನಂಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು. ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ನಾರ್ಕೋ ಟೆರರಿಸಮ್ ಇದೆ, ಕೋಕೇನ್ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಗ್ರೋ ಮಾಡಿ ಹಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಡಿಕ್ಷನ್ ಓವರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಈ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಆ ಕನ್ಸ್ಪಿರಸಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಆಗಿ ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಯುನೈಟೆಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಮೇಡಮ್ ಇದು.
Arvind, are there any stories that are related in India, like similar to that, or like Osho's case? Is there any like food incident or any incidents?
It may be there, I don't know any doubt.
ಈಗ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಿಂದ ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯವ್ರು ಏನು ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಇಂಗ್ರೀಡಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ, ಅದೇ ಥರ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದವರು ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಬಯೋವೆಪನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ ಆಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನೋ.
ಹೇಳಿ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ ದೇಶ ನಮ್ದು.
ಹಾಂ ಸರ್, ನಾನ್ ವೈಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಅದು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್ ಅದು.
ನಾವೇನು ಆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್
ಹಾಂ ಸರ್, ಹಾಂ
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಸೆನ್ಸಿಟಿವ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಳಂಗಿಲ್ಲ
ಹಾಂ ಸರ್, ಅದೇ ಸರ್.
ಅಲ್ವಾ? ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕನ್ಸೀಲ್ ಇಟ್. ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು
ಹಾಂ
ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ವಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ ಸೇ ದಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡನ್ ಇಟ್. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಎನಿ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ವಿಲ್ ಡೂ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ.
ಹಾಂ ಸರ್.
Can every natural outbreaks can be named as agro-terrorism, or there is a difference between
Natural outbreak will be mostly dealing with slow spread, not rapidly spread of any disease. Whether it is attack of intentional means it will affect directly economic yield of the crop.
How are you dealing with the speed? Speed is natural. It is a insect based.
It take some time, sir,
No,
to spread, sir, but
intentionally.
deliberate attack
Whatever
will
may be
spread
deliberate or
rapidly, sir.
naturally happen, it goes its own pace.
Yes, sir.
But you are strategizing in strategic point where you can plan in such a way
sir.
that the movement can be made faster by
Yes.
strategically placing,
Yes.
by choosing the temperature or choosing the location
Okay, sir.
or wind direction, something like that. You can choose by which you can plan it and aggravate it.
Okay,
But naturally, it will happen its own speed.
Okay, sir.
Somewhere in your presentation you told about the terminator seeds, right?
Yes, sir.
What the
Sir, that
MNC companies does.
yes, sir. Corporate companies mostly do this, but now it is banned, sir, because of farmers' aggressive strike towards the corporate companies, sir.
What is the terminator seed?
Terminator is seeds are nothing but they only grow at once, sir. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಅದು ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ನಾವು ಲ್ಯಾಟ್ರಲ್ಲಿ.
Call hybrid seeds as terminator seeds.
ಸರ್ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಪೇಪರಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಓದಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್, ಬಟ್ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಹೈಬ್ರಿಡ್ ಸೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟರ್ಮಿನೇಟರ್ ಸೀಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಬಟ್
Stored can't be used for.
ಹಾಂ ಸರ್, ಅದೇ ಎಸ್ ಸರ್.
Can we tell that as an open agro-terrorism?
That I don't know, sir. For farmers, it is act of terrorism only, sir. Any terrifying events toward the society is known as act of terrorism, according to my knowledge.
In the hybridization task,
Yes,
the
sir.
output is put into consumption purpose,
Yes, sir.
whereas the production part or seed production activity that is not affected.
Yes, sir.
That is planned and continuously we are
Yes.
producing it.
Yes, sir.
So if anything attacked on the hybridization production itself, means it becomes a terrorism.
Yes, sir.
But output is consumed intentionally. We are growing for consumption only. Then that cannot be a terrorism.
Okay, sir.
Arvind, is locust is a part of agro-terrorism or not?
I have not found any research regarding to locust. Some may claim that it is due to global warming and breeding depression. Due to that, locusts have been roaming around the world in outbreak regarding the seasonal changes around the globe.
Arvind, in such a case, how to decide that it is an outbreak or it is an terrorism? Are there any scientific methods? Are
Sir,
there
early detection models are there, sir.
whether institutes are there or research has
In
gone
India,
into
we
it?
are lacking behind in that, sir. But foreign countries have been tackling that
Which are
early
the-
detection
which are the
model,
countries,
sir.
What type of institutes they have set up and what an amount of funding is happening there? Because India, do you say that India has not invested on that line?
Recent biological convention weapons where Jaishankar, Minister of External, said that whether the act may be a deliberate or intentionally, we have to be prepared for everything in the 2025, sir. But now they are preparing, sir. In India, now they are preparing for this contest, sir, agro-terrorism contest.
No. Every country is prepared, but it is not unlike other expenses. This is not explicit.
Yes,
People will not disclose also,
yes, sir.
and they will be showing in some other account.
Yes, sir.
Okay, some other research like this.
Yes.
So, for example, in our army also there is a wing
Yes, sir.
In that, one of my friend was also working. He was
Yes.
telling long
Yes.
back.
Yes.
So a lot of research are also going on like that. He was telling
Yes,
whether it's
sir.
true or not, but it is a
Yes.
like that. It may be every.
Where they are doing quarantine and strategies like that to prevent such kind of activities. But most of the terrorism having the porous border in Bangladesh and India, there is a lack of BSF surveillance in some parts.
Okay, what an amount of restrictions are in place, or are there any treaties among the countries not to do this or not to use this? For example, nuclear weapons. Many of the countries have signed for not going for.
Still no, sir. Only on the biological weapons like chemicals.
Do you think that nuclear warfare is bigger than agro-terrorism, or agro-terrorism is bigger than nuclear warfare?
Sir, mostly agro-terrorism attacks will be invisible but hard to late to detect, sir. But it will threaten the food security. Both will be impacting, but nuclear weapon will be impactful. Will be more, sir, in terms of health and everything.
Slow poison.
Ha, sir.
What about endosulfan incidents in Karnataka? You see in Dakshina Kannada, Uttar Kannada, Karwar, this even in Kasaragod also.
Yes, sir.
So, because of the continuous use of endosulfan, now a lot of problems they have faced.
Yes.
Skin infections,
Yes, sir.
deformities, cancers, all those things. And looking into that consequences, government of India banned that in
Yes, sir.
2011.
Yes, sir.
But
Right.
already a lot of losses has been occurred.
Yes.
So is it a case of terrorism, agro-terrorism?
Sir, if it is decided by state of government, state of the government, it can be a case of agro-terrorism, sir. As of now, no one is there to decide, sir. How can I tell that it's an act of agro-terrorism by me?
So the government should have
Yes, sir.
recognized this impacts in
Yes,
the
sir.
early stage itself.
Yes, sir.
This is how it is impacting the
Yes,
poisonous
yes, sir.
things. They should have a strict quarantine
Yes, sir.
to decide which is good and which is bad.
Yes, sir.
When you told Pathinim also,
Yes, sir.
that is also attacking them.
Yes, sir.
Okay, historically, whether terrorism in earlier times, in king's periods, 1,000 years back or 500 years back.
Yes, sir. In 660 BC, Assyrians used ray ergot for contaminate of water. Earlier, biological welfare documented, sir, in ancient time.
Now use of drones also is a threat.
Yes, sir.
Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ultimately, what is the role we can play?
As an extension worker.
Sir, awareness regarding agro-terrorism and giving a training program for capacity building to farmers to identify pests and pathogenic diseases, sir. We have
It's a
to.
large scale, no? Something happens in a large scale.
Yes, sir.
Terrorism means. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So in that case, how the awareness to the farmers will be of helpful?
So it will be helpful if government of India
For
takes some
example, if
measures.
hoppers fly for, okay,
Yes, yes, sir.
locust comes.
Yes, sir.
So how we can get prepared for that?
Sir, some are setting the early detection models in the border areas, sir. Radar, we can detect, sir. In 2025, early detection model have been came, sir. Warning, sir. Early. Thank you, one and
Okay, Arvind, thank you.
thank you, ma'am.
You made a good effort to present new concept
Ma'am.
for the audience. Okay, and you have taken 41 minutes to complete your seminar.
Okay.
And blackboard usage is around 4 minutes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, one and
We erase that.
okay.
Seniors and my dear friends, myself Lakshmi R, and I'm here to present my first credit seminar. To begin with, let me ask you a simple question. What is the first thing that is coming to our mind while we seeing headlines in news about urban flooding in cities like Chennai or Bengaluru, or landslides in Wayanad, or earthquake in Nepal? Most of us will be immediately thinking about rescue operation, boats navigating flooded streets, or evacuation shelters, or emergency response team working against time. But are all these external agencies able to reach the disaster location on time? Mostly no, because there is often a critical time gap. During this time gap, the roads will be often blocked, communication will be disrupted, and the access will become more difficult. During this stage, it is the local community that is most affected by those disasters and the first to respond. Local communities will provide early warning, evacuate the vulnerable groups, and even protect the livelihood. And this marks the crucial role of local communities in disaster risk management even before external assistance arrives. We are now witnessing a shift in disaster management, where disaster management is not just rescue after the chaos, but building resilience even before the storm hits. So, addressing this challenge, I am presenting my seminar entitled Community-Based Disaster Risk Management for Climate Resilient Communities. And the seminar objectives include to understand the background and context of climate-related disasters, to understand the role of community-led approaches in disaster risk management, then to explore the practices and tools in community-based disaster risk management, and finally, to review insights from relevant research study that illustrates the successful application of CBDRM strategies in strengthening disaster risk preparedness among communities. And the conceptual trajectory of my seminar begins from understanding the background and context, understanding CBDRM, and finally to conclusion. Before delving more into the topic, let us see what is the current agriculture scenario in our country. We know that more than 70% of our rural people are still directly or indirectly dependent on agriculture, and especially 60% of our land is still attributed to agriculture. 18% of our GDP is still accounted by agriculture, and when we look at the global scenario, we can see about 25% of our global production is shared by India, which is a substantial share. So any threat to this sector is not just an agricultural issue, but a national emergency. When we take into account of the total damages and losses due to disasters, there is often a misconception that most of the losses and damages due to disasters will be accounted by heavy infrastructure or housing, urban centers, etc. But here we can see 23% of the total damage and loss due to disasters are attributed by our sector, that is our agriculture sector. And this 23% is not just a loss in revenue, but threatened livelihood and food insecurity, which is prevalent in our country. And when we look where all these disasters are actually happening, it is really shocking, because we are living at the global epicenter of disaster, because Asia is having the highest number of disasters among continents comparing to other continents like North America, Africa, Europe, etc. And if we think that all these disasters are recent phenomena, again we are wrong, because from 1900 to 2021, our globe has witnessed more than 25,000 disasters, and among those, 69% were natural disasters. Here we can see a temporal analysis of man-made and natural disasters happened with a 10-year interval from 1900 to 2024, and here we can see a clear upward trajectory from 1980s. And when we peel back the layers and analyze each of the hazards that we are suffering, we can see there are many types of hazards like drought, volcanic eruption, storm, flood, cyclone, etc. are there. But the only this hazard that is affecting mostly in our sector is the first one, that is drought. We can see about 80% of the economic loss is accounted by drought alone. If we think that only drought is the hazard type that is affecting our agriculture sector, it is not right, because in the right side of the graph, we can see there's earthquake, tsunami, multi-hazard like cyclone, etc. are also there. And all these type of hazard are not directly affecting our agriculture, but indirectly by distracting our rural roads, our urban housing, and our storage facilities, etc. So here we'll get a clear distinction that our focus should not only be stretched to not only to plants but to persons also. And here we can see the total estimated agriculture production losses due to disasters. And during 1980s period, we can see the annual global losses were $40 to $50 billion per year. And now we are setting a new normal where, where the losses has been increased to $100 to $200 billion every year. When we zoom in on the India's disaster vulnerability profile, we can see about 58.6% of India's landmass is prone to earthquake of moderate to high intensity, and over 40 million hectares of our land is prone to flood and river erosions, and about 2/3 of our coastal line is prone to tsunamis, and 68% of our cultivable area is prone to drought, and hilly areas are prone to landslides and avalanches. Here we can see the district level mapping of disaster vulnerability in India, and which has made with a composite of sensitivity, exposure, and adaptive capacity. We can see our vulnerability is not spread uniform but different at different parts of our country. And when we look at the statistics, we can see from 1995 to 2024 alone, India has witnessed more than 430 extreme events, claiming more than 80,000 deaths. And the global community has positioned India among the 9th most climate-affected countries in the world. So to see the urgency of this situation, let's go back to last 3 years. These are the recent major global disasters that has happened in our country, in our world. In 2023, we can see the Turkey-Syria earthquake. With a 7.8 magnitude of earthquake, it has claimed more than 59,000 of lives and left millions homeless. And the hurricanes Helen and Milton, which has happened in USA, which is giving us a brutal reminder that even the wealthiest nation in our country couldn't prevent natural disasters and the damages caused due to it, because it has caused about 100 million plus damage in USA. And when we come to late 2025, we can see two extreme events of water cycle, because in Malaysia, there they have witnessed extreme rainfall followed by landslide, while in European nation, they have witnessed prolonged heat wave, which has caused widespread damage to agriculture. When we look at the contemporary disaster events in India, we can see that in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, they were not just witnessing rain, they were witnessing cloud bursts followed by landslides and flooding. And coming to the northeastern part, that is in Sikkim, they were experiencing a glacial lake outburst flood, which has caused due to the destruction of Lonak River. And the cyclone Rimal were not just a storm surge, but it has salinated the whole soil there, and which has caused heavy damage in agriculture sector also. And these are some of the recent disaster events in India. And nowadays, we are seeing more climate-related news in our newspaper. And whenever we are seeing newspaper, we'll be seeing some kind of climate-related disaster news, proving that all these disaster events are not just rare event, and now they are becoming to a daily means of crisis because of negligence of humans, and which is displacing millions of people and dominating our national consciousness. So to look into more about this, I have made some of the news cutting into a physical collection for your kind reference. To reverse this narrative of destruction, our global community has identified sustainable development goals, which is India is also a signatory among other 192 other countries. So here we can see the goal 1, no poverty; goal 2, zero hunger; goal 3, good well-being, health and well-being; goal 4, quality education; goal 5, gender equality; goal 11, sustainable cities and communities; goal 13, climate action; goal 15, life on land; and the most important one, goal 17, that is partnership for goals. And these SDGs are explicitly directed to our topic of discussion. Through this Sustainable Development Goals, we have seen the roadmap of a resilient future. But how will we achieve it? That means the SDGs are also giving a critical truth that we just should not focus on one or the other goal. We have to incorporate our disaster risk reduction strategies to each of the goals we have seen there. So to get more details about it, we can see the disaster management cycle here. So these are the mission areas of our disaster management. We can see two phases. That is one that is pre-disaster phase and other is post-disaster phase. And the pre-disaster phase is again subdivided into mitigation and preparedness. And in mitigation phase, what will we be doing in agriculture context is planting more drought-resilient crops or making our plants more tolerant to drought or flood, whatever. So through this mitigation procedure, we will be mitigating or minimizing the loss of the disasters. And the next one is preparedness. As we already saw, we cannot prevent disasters. Anyway, disasters will occur. So what we can do is we can be prepared. So in preparedness phase, we will be, for example, in agriculture context, we will be building flood defense or building climate disaster resilient storage facilities, etc. And once the disaster occurs, the next stage is response phase. In response phase, our critical agenda will only on saving the lives and assets of people. And coming to recovery phase, what we will be doing in the recovery phase is building back. Not just building back, but building back better. If we are losing our plants due to a disaster event, then on the next cycle, we should not replant the same plant. We have to work smartly. That means we have to replant more disaster resilient crops so that we can withstand the next cycle of the disaster event. That is we will be doing in the recovery phase. And now, even though we have all this disaster management cycle and all, even though we are now facing many loss in lives and assets of people, because it is due to the historical way of our disaster management. Let's see more details into it. So here we can see two types of disaster management. That one is reactive model and the other is proactive model. Earlier, as we already saw in the disaster management cycle, the disaster management starts right after a disaster occurs. So directly we will be moving to response, then recovery part. And this is a vicious cycle because we are again doing the same things. Again disaster strike, we will rebuild those things, but this will only create development setback. But here we can see this is the proactive model. In this proactive model, we will be starting not from disaster but from pre-disaster phase, that is mitigation, prevention and preparedness phase. From this phase, we will be moving to we will gain more development because there our focus will be on mitigating the risk that may cause due to disaster. And this is a virtuous cycle. And here we can see a perfect shift from our disaster management from history to now, that is from a reactive model to proactive model. But this shift from reactive model to proactive model hasn't happened in one day or in over a decade. Our disaster management has evolved from this reactive model to proactive model. Let's see how we have evolved through that way. We can see the evolution of our disaster management. Actually, our disaster management has evolved through 6 phases. That is, the first phase during 1950s. This phase is called civil defense phase because here our focus was only reactive. Once the disasters strike, we will do the response and recovery parts. That is what we have done in the phase 1. This was purely reactive, ad hoc and spur of the moment approach. And from here, we have evolved to phase 2. That is organizing phase. This organizing phase was during 1960s to 70s. During this phase, we were organizing all those specialized agencies now we have in our disaster management framework. That means the United Nations Development Program, which was formed in 1966, and all formed during this phase of disaster management. And in India, the India Meteorological Department has evolved to expanded to cyclone warning and all during this phase. And coming to the third phase, that is planning process phase. That was during 1980s. During this planning process phase, our disaster management were delineated into pre-disaster and post-disaster phase. Till that time, we were only focusing after disaster strike, we will be focusing on disaster management. Here we have delineated into pre-disaster and post-disaster phase, and we have also established what are the things have to do and should not do during these two phases. And we have evolved from this phase to next phase of disaster management, that is phase 4. This was the disaster management cycle. In this phase, disaster management cycle, as we saw now, that has been evolved. That means disaster management was divided into 4 phases, from mitigation to response, recovery. And then comes the phase 5, that is the resilience phase. In this resilience phase, most of the research were focused on resilience. That means anyway disaster will occur, so how we can withstand with the negative effects of those disasters. That all were discussed, established in this phase of our disaster management. Then comes the 6th phase, that is phase 6. Here we have seen the community-based approaches in our disaster management. That is our topic of discussion. In this phase, we have realized the community members itself have the power to withstand all these negative effects of disaster, and we try to train and put our focus more into the community for disaster management during this phase. That is the last phase of our disaster management. So this is how our disaster management has evolved from a reactive approach to the proactive approach. That means our topic of discussion, that is community-based disaster risk management. Here, communities are put at the heart of decision making, and that will create local action to global impact. And for getting a clear distinction about traditional approach and CBDRM approach, we can see what are the critical differences between traditional and CBDRM approach. The first one, that is traditional, and here we can write the CBDRM. The first and foremost difference, as I already told, is traditional was purely reactive and CBDRM is proactive. And the next critical difference is traditional approach was top-down, because decision and all were taken by high-level authorities and implemented on communities. But on CBDRM, it was bottom-up, because all the decision will be taken with the help of community members. And in traditional approach, community's role, it was passive, because they were considered only as the recipients of aid. And here in CBDRM approach, we can see community members are active in our disaster management. And when we look at the risk assessment, we can see here risk assessment was given by technicians or experts. That means risk assessment was purely expert driven. But in CBDRM, risk assessment is done by community members. That means they will be telling where are the risk zone that is prevalent in their community. So risk assessment was more participatory in CBDRM. And finally, sustainability. We can say that sustainability is of course short term in traditional and long term in CBDRM approach. So this is the clear distinction between traditional approach and CBDRM approach. And I have already told the communities are at the heart of decision making in CBDRM approach. Then what is the role of government agencies or UN or private sectors? We can see. In CBDRM approach, there are both insiders and outsiders. Insiders means the communities which are living in that risk zone. That means they will be having the collective responsibility of disaster management. And we know that anyway, crowd cannot manage a crisis. So we need the local captains. That means we will be having CDRMO, that is Community Disaster Management Organization, who are the local captains of the ship. And they will facilitate, their role is to facilitate and to build consensus. And the outsiders, as I already told, government and have also an equal share in participation in CBDRM approach. Their role, but is purely technical. Their roles is purely technical, financial and political, that which the community members cannot generate by its own. So now let's see how this CBDRM is acting on ground. Actually, the CBDRM have a 7-step sequential journey, which is starting from selecting the community. And the next step, that is rapport building and understanding the community. And third step, that is the most crucial step, that is participatory disaster risk assessment. And the fourth step, that is participatory disaster management planning. Fifth step, that is building and training CDRMO. Sixth step, that is community managed implementation. And the final step, that is participatory monitoring and evaluation. So these are the 7-step sequential journey of CBDRM. Now let's see each step one by one. The first step is selecting the community. Here what usually we will be using is metrics ranking. For doing metrics ranking, we will be first setting out some of the criteria. For example, severity of communities' exposure to risk, or number of people getting benefited from DRM, or readiness of communities to engage in DRM, and also accessibility of the community. And using these set of criteria, we will be asking the community members to rank these criteria and to select which community is more suitable for implementing this approach. And here in this example, we can see that the first community has got selected, that is the Preveng has got selected because it has got the most number of beans in this example. And the next step, that is rapport building and understanding the community. Here we can see once we have selected a community, what we have to do is to build trust and understanding about that community. For the major actions for building trust and understanding is, first one is living in the community, because we will be outsiders. When we go into the community, what we have to do is achieve their trust. For this, we have to live in that community, and also have to become transparent and open, have to listen the local people problem, issues, solutions, and then we have to participate in their local event and learn new skills in order to think that we are not in order to make them think that we are not just outsiders, but we are there to help them. And the essential behaviors of outsiders include being patient, respecting local culture, then having interest in what people have to say, and also most important one, that is having confidence that local people can do what they are set out to do, and have to transfer this confidence also. And the next important step, that is participatory disaster risk assessment. Here it is also a sequential journey from describing the hazard to decide whether to prevent, reduce or live with that disaster. That means the first step in disaster risk assessment will be describing the hazards in the community. There will be many hazards in the community. First, we will be describing those. Then, we will be conducting hazard mapping, followed by describing the vulnerabilities and capacities of community, then describing what are the disaster risk prevalent, then ranking those disasters, then deciding on the accepted level of risk, then finally decide whether to leave, to prevent, reduce or live with that disaster risk. So, this is the important step in our CBDRM approach. And for disaster risk assessment, we will be using many kind of PRA tools, that is participatory rural appraisal tools for this assessment. We can see some of the tools. So the first one is hazard mapping. So this is an example, real example of hazard map. The objective of doing hazard map is to find which are the low risk or medium risk or high risk zone within a community. Here we can see people have marked red, blue and green for marking the low risk, medium risk and high risk zone within the community, so that the community members and the outsiders will get a clear idea about where are the risky zone, and so that we can target our intervention to that particular zone. And the next PRA tool is metrics ranking. The objective of using metrics ranking is to identify the priorities of community, or to identify the reasons they think that the disasters are happening. Here it is also a real example, and here what people was they have identified what are the causes of drought vulnerabilities in agriculture communities, and they have ranked first as erratic rainfall and climate change as the most prevalent reason. So this is metrics ranking. And the next one, that is seasonal map. The objective of using seasonal map is to identify the recurring seasonal events that is happening year round in that community. Here we can see in an year which are the months that is mostly facing rainfall and drought, forest fire. All these can be identified using seasonal calendars. And the next PRA tool, that is transect, which is the most enjoyable activities that we can do along with community members. Here, by doing this transect map, we will get we will get a clear idea about how the landscape is on the community, and also what are the different resources available, example water resource, soil, crops, forages that are available in the community. So these are some of the PRA tools that can be made use in participatory disaster risk assessment. Along with that, there are Venn diagrams, proportional piling, etc. All these we can made use in the participatory disaster risk assessment step. And the next step, that is participatory disaster management planning. So now we know where are the risk zone, what are the resource spaces, etc. available in that community. What we have to do is how to make a actionable plan. That is the blueprint of our action will be made in this fourth step. It will be made by a shared visioning through agreed objectives, and also we will be mobilizing all the resources we have been seen through our inspection. Also, we will be budgeting our plan at the end. And the fifth important step, that is building and training CDRMO. As I already mentioned, CDRMOs are the local captains of the ship, and they will be having different specified roles during different times of disasters. That means during preparedness, during emergency, during recovery phase, they will be having different kinds of role. During preparedness phase, the major role of CDRMOs will be giving awareness and training, or community. That means we have made a plan, and they will be mobilizing that plan, etc. will be happening during this preparedness phase. And during emergency, the CDRMOs will be more focused on warning issuance and evacuation management and damage and need assessment. And after disaster, this same CDRMO will be more focused on rehabilitation. That is, it can be economical, physical or social rehabilitation, and also they will be equipped to do the first aid also. So these are the major roles of CDRMO. We will be building and training the CDRMO for helping us. And the next important phase, that is community managed implementation. For this implementation, CDRMO have a major role here. They will be making committee members like for education committee, agriculture committee, or evacuation committee, early warning committee. All these committee will be working together during this stage, and this CDRMO will be training other community members, and they will mobilize the available resource. Also, they will be doing participatory monitoring and review along with adjustments and adaptation, because we cannot say that the plan we have made is final. So we have to make adjustment to that plan according to the situation in the community. So this all will be done during this stage. And the final important stage, that is participatory monitoring and evaluation. This is also done in a participatory manner. For monitoring, we have at least 3 dimensions, that is process monitoring, effect monitoring, and monitoring for significant change. In process monitoring, we will be collecting information regarding the use of inputs, and while in effect monitoring, we will be collecting information regarding the progress of our activities towards the achievement of the objectives. And in monitoring for significant change, we will be describing what is the most significant change that you think you have provided to our project. Like that, we will be analyzing reviewing the periodic reviews. And for evaluation, we will be first making an evaluation plan. From defining the process to finalizing the evaluation plan, first we will make an evaluation plan, then we will be and assessing the effect and outcomes of our activities. So this all are the 7 important steps of participatory monitoring and evaluation framework. Now we have seen how we can do the CBDRM approach on the ground. Now let's see what is the role of us, that is agricultural extension, in this CBDRM. First one is risk assessment. That means we will be identifying and evaluating the risky zones within the community. As we saw in the hazard map, we will be seeing where is the risky zone, where is the safer zone, etc. And also we will be targeting our intervention into that zone and make those people prepared. And the next important role is early warning system. In early warning system, it is a very important part of CBDRM, because early warning will make farmers or the locals be prepared for the coming disasters. This early warning can be provided through local weather station, or through SMS alert, or using any of the mass media like TV, newspaper, TV, radio, etc. And the next one is capacity building, which is the major role of our agriculture extension. We will be giving training, workshops, simulation exercises, drills, mock drills, etc. to community members and make them equipped to face these disaster events. And the next role is community engagement. In this community engagement, we will be including all sections of community into our disaster management planning, because mostly women, children, disabled people will not be participating in our disaster management planning. But here, through community engagement, we will be including all those vulnerable sectors into our activities. And the next one is sustainable practices, because as agriculture extension service, we should advise people for taking sustainable practices for especially in farming, because soil and water management, conservation agriculture, no-till farming, all these should be incorporated in their work, so that they will be more equipped for disaster management. And the next one is emergency response, which is the most important part right after a disaster, and this include distributing relief or giving emergency fund, etc. And the next role, that is infrastructure development. Here we will be doing the flood defense or a resilient storage facility, etc. will be advising, because a strong infrastructure means more reduced physical damage. And the last role, that is policy advocacy. And this policy advocacy is done to lobby more resource into our disaster risk reduction measures. This will be done using policy briefs or stakeholder consultations, etc. And now we have seen what are the different role of agricultural extension in CBDRM. Now let's go through some of the empirical evidence of this CBDRM on the ground. The first research study is assessing the effectiveness of community-based disaster risk reduction in flood-prone regions of northern India. The objective here is to evaluate how effective is the CBDRM initiatives in flood-prone regions of northern India. And we can see here they have used the major locations were Haridwar, Darbhanga, Ghaziapur, Bali and Patna, which are the side of Ganga river. And we have used geospatial tools for validating our result. Along with, we have done field survey with 300 households. In Bali and Patna, the CBDR engagement level were high, and in Ghaziapur, Darbhanga and Haridwar, CBDR engagement were low. And coming to results and discussion, we can see the distinction between CBDRR and non-CBDRR areas, and warning timeliness in CBDRR area has improved by 30 minutes, and evacuation efficiency has been increased by 27%, and recovery rate has increased by 25%. Thus, we can see that our CBDRR initiatives were successful in this particular region. And next, we can see in the next study, which has been done in Indonesia, that too recent, that is revitalization of disaster mitigation management and community empowerment through community-based disaster risk reduction. Here, the major objective was to determine the effect of implementing CBDRR program on communities' knowledge and skill. And we can see the methodology here was quasi-experimental design with non-randomized control group, and the respondents were total 60 in number, 30 were intervention and 30 were control. And the data analysis was done using paired t-test and GLM, that is general linear model, to measure the changes over time. And coming to results and discussion, we can see in a knowledge part, we can see a clear statistically significant value for intervention group comparing to control group. That means knowledge part has increased for the intervention group while we made those CBDRR initiatives. And coming to skills part, we can see for intervention group, the p-value was again statistically significant, while for control group, it was statistically insignificant, meaning that our skills part has also been increased due to this CBDRR initiatives. And this is the graph showing the results of CBDRR initiatives in the Indonesian region, that is N Regency. Now let us see what are the operational challenges in CBDRM. Now we have seen many success stories, but still there are many operational challenges that drag us back from fully implementing this CBDRM approach in our country. And first one is limited community awareness and education. We know without awareness, we cannot manage anything that is even a disaster. If community members think that these disaster events are inescapable, then we are not able to fully implement our CBDRM initiatives. And the second one is inadequate funding and resource allocation. As we know, resource and funding is the fuel of any engine. So without funding, we will be not able to fully implement CBDRM initiatives. And third one, that is weak institutional framework. If institutional framework are there, but they are not backed by strong institutional framework, then we cannot successively implement those CBDRM initiative in the local level. And also poor integration with national and local governance structure. That means we will be having a village disaster management plan at local level, that is at village level. If we are not incorporating this into our state district development plan or state or national development plan, then that plan will be not useful. And then over dependence on external agencies. That means if the community members are overly dependent on the external agencies rather than their own power, once the external agency withdraws, then they cannot sustain those efforts that we have made on them. And the next one is lack of trained personnel. That means volunteers will be passionate, but they may not be skillful. If they are not skillful in doing first aid or giving early warning or rehabilitating, etc., then they cannot make those activities effective. And the seventh one, that is gender and social exclusion. We know that all all these disaster events are not affecting all the sections of community equally, because women, children, disabled people, they are more susceptible to these all kind of vulnerabilities. If we are not participating those sections of communities into our disaster management planning, then our plan will become float. And the last one, that is corruption and mismanagement of fund, which is a serious issue in our system, because if we are lobbying our resources that has been directed to this CBDRM initiative to some other things, then our initiative will become less effective. And in order to move past from these challenges, we have future directions, that is how we can move forward surpassing these challenges. The first one is, of course, public awareness and campaigns. We have to make aware more our public about the importance of CBDRM and the power they have to successfully disaster, for managing these all kind of disasters. And the next one, that is strengthening institutional support. As I mentioned in challenges, that if our institutional framework is not strengthened, then our village disaster management plan will not become effective. So we must need a strengthened institutional support. Then utilization of local language. As we already seen, all these PRA tools were made using by utilizing the local language, local knowledge. If we are not utilizing those local knowledge, then we will not be knowing the real truth of that community. So utilizing local knowledge is also very important in CBDRM initiatives. And the next one, that is community engagement. As I already told, there will be many sections of community where there will be women, children, also disabled people. All these people should come into our disaster management planning. Then only our plan become fulfilled. Otherwise, it will be only half of the population will be participating into our planning. It should not be done. And the last one, that is education and training. With education and training, we can make our CDRMOs and thereby our people more equipped to manage all these kind of disasters. So to wrap up, as we all already know, that is agriculture extension is the link between high-level science and field-level farmers. So as we already saw in our case studies, that these if we are integrating the early warning system with capacity building, we will be able to implement our CBDRM activities more successfully. Also, we have our major focus should be to overcome these challenges and to move forward with our future directions. For getting more insights into my topic of discussion, I have attended a course that was offered by National Institute of Disaster Management about comprehensive disaster risk management, and it was issued by National Institute of Disaster Management of Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. And the key competencies I achieved were specialized training in National Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction, Mitigation Strategies, and Emergency Preparedness. So I would like to end my presentation with the famous words of Chinese philosopher Lao Tse, that is, go and meet your people, live and stay with them, love them and work with them. Begin with what they have and begin with what they know. Plan and develop with what they know. At the end, when the work is over, they will say, we did it ourselves. And as an agriculture extension, I believe that is our operational duty. Our aim is not just to educate people, but empower people. Thank you.
Congratulations, Lakshmi.
Thank you, sir.
So you have done a very good presentation. So we all know that climate change is now very rampant all over the world. And here the main affectors are our farmers. It is affecting the production system mainly.
Yes, sir.
So to cope up with that, it is you have brought in the community management through their local people.
Yes.
So step by step you explained in a very nice way. Now it is over to students for discussion.
What are the strategies for enhancing disaster risk reduction in agriculture?
Okay, in agriculture, as I mentioned somewhere, that mostly first thing what we have to do is risk assessment and mapping. Only through risk assessment, we will be knowing which are the areas that we have to target our intervention. Then in those areas, we can do climate smart agriculture, like we can apply agroforestry or conservation farming, no-till farming. All these kind of practices we can do in that particular location if we are identifying through risk assessment and mapping. Also, we should do that water management, soil management. All these will together help to manage disaster risk reduction in agriculture.
Will CBDRM lead to long-term sustainability?
Yes, of course, it is sustainable because, as I already told, here we are empowering local people to manage this disaster. We will be building their capacities and increasing their competencies. So, even after the external agency withdraws, they can sustain this initiative within their community by themselves. So, this is more sustainable than the traditional way of giving disaster management, I believe.
Actually, you're explaining proactive approach and reactive approach. Why CBDRM is placed in a proactive approach? What might be the reason?
Because in CBDRM approach, as we saw in the disaster management cycle, we are start acting even before the disaster. That means we will be starting from the mitigation part. Earlier, in traditional disaster management and all, the disaster management was starting from right after a disaster occurs. That means from the middle of that cycle. But now we have shifted our focus from the disaster event to mitigation and preparedness phases. So now, we are preparing for the coming disaster. So it is proactive rather than reactive.
How would CBDRM be integrated in regular extension programs?
First of all, I think our extension professionals should be trained for doing this risk assessment and mapping within the community, because most of the extension professionals are focused on increasing the yield of, that means production side only, but they are not focused on the disaster management side. I think first we should equip them to do all these risk assessment part and thereby lead this into our communities. That means these agriculture professionals then move to our real communities and to work with them.
Lakshmi, can you tell what are the key principles of CBDRM?
Of course, local participation. Local participation is the foremost important principle. Along with that, we will be using local traditional knowledge of the local people. Also, local ownership will be there, because if the technicians are making that disaster management plan, then the communities will not find that it is their own plan. But if they themselves are investing their time and effort to make that plan, then they will have a sense of ownership on that plan. So local ownership is also a principle of CBDRM.
Excuse me. By the way, good presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Do you think is India ready for these things?
Actually, in our policy and all guidelines, we have already incorporated this CBDRM approach, because we already have a national disaster management plan for us in India. We have incorporated this community participation role in that guideline, but we have not implemented this yet. That means in localized, as we saw in the case study also, in some localized parts of India, we have already done this way of community-based disaster risk management, but not to full extent because of some administrative or legislative issue. We have not done in a full-fledged, but there are many cases where the CBDRM activities are done in our country also.
What can be the strategies used for implementation?
I think that means the government itself have to incorporate more of this community based disaster approach into their plan. Then only they will be able to, then only the people will come to know about these kind of measures are available for managing their disasters. So I think the community should, government should engage more into this kind of public awareness and all.
Lakshmi, very good presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I have seen one word in your slide, man-made technological disaster.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give example for that?
Ma'am, actually the disasters are has been divided mainly into two categories. That is natural disasters and man-made or technological disasters. Natural disasters are caused due to this natural event that we cannot prevent. But this man-made or technological disasters means that if we are looking at the history, we can quote an example of that Bhopal gas tragedy. That was due to man-made cause of disaster. And oil spills or industrial leak, and all these comes under this man-made or technological disasters.
Endosulfan itself is a man-made.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Afforestation is a man-made.
Afforestation is also a man-made disaster.
And in your
Afforestation or deforestation?
Sorry, sir, deforestation. Sir, I meant.
And in one of your research study presentation, there is a changes in knowledge as well as skill. Okay. What kind of skills are learned by participants?
Ma'am, mainly in disaster management, the major skills they will be having are how to act when a disaster occurs. That means how to evacuate or help themselves to avoid the negative effects of the disasters. Skills can be in first aid or this. First aid is one main thing, and for evacuation, mainly they will be finding some safe zones within their community. So how can they reach to that place without also along with their family members or relatives, whoever they have, how to reach to that place without having any other negative effects or negative consequences. Like that, they will be more equipped to help themselves in that situation. That kind of skills will be provided mostly.
So, are there any community action plans prepared in any of the states so that some organized efforts started?
Yes, sir. As I already told, there are localized efforts for community-based disaster risk management. If we are telling a state, then I should quote the example of Odisha state, because the efforts by Odisha states were even recognized by World Bank Group, because even before our India having a disaster management act, that state has already prepared their own community-based disaster risk management activities and has successfully proved how we can manage those disasters with the help of community. In 1999, a cyclone has happened in Odisha. Right after that, the first thing they have made was this community managed plan. And with that, they are still having that plan, and most of the countries have recognized their act in this community managed disaster management efforts. Along with that, many other states have also done, but as a state-wise, Odisha has implemented. In Kerala, Karnataka, etc., there are localized efforts are there. Not state-wise, but localized efforts are there.
Okay, what about the community success of community action plans in case of the terrains like hill areas where the population is less, movement is again another stressful activity, and how those communities can get prepared respect of the terrain difficulties, or how the government can give, because
sir,
where the disasters are happening every year, it is
yes,
possibilities
sir.
is there. Whereas in other areas, it's once in a 5 years or 10 years frequency.
Sir, actually in Kerala, Wayanad is the most hilly terrain compared to other districts. And in Wayanad, if I'm quoting an example, the tribal group has all now that they have already used this. Like I will show the example. This was yesterday's news. Actually, the tribal communities has been, they themselves have made a management plan with the help of their government for reducing this disaster risk. For this, they have they made many volunteers for basic disaster management like fire safety, basic life support, and life-saving swimming techniques. And also they had they have made many rapid response team and conducted many colony level tribal disaster management plan and everything through this. Their government has made them equipped to prevent those disasters, because tribal communities will not be knowing what happening in outside world. So they have concentrated their efforts to tribal communities because they were at the as you said, they were at the living at the terrain areas and were facing most of the negative effects of the disasters.
Okay, are there any documentation of IT case pertaining to this on climate related or disaster related?
Sir?
IT case, indigenous technical knowledge. You are telling that tribal
yes,
communities are having some exposure by that. So whether now other efforts are there, or whether there is some documents so that can serve as a reference for future for other areas or neighboring areas also.
As far as my knowledge, I don't know any documented IT case, sir. But they are crucial for our disaster.
Crops and all we are having with drought system.
Yes, sir. I am having as.
But similarly for this, what is it? Because you are telling that tribal community has sensed or
yes,
they are more knowledge because they are residing there itself
yes,
and away from the city atmosphere.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's and how the Wayanad people's livelihood was restored? What are the effects taken by the external system to restore the disaster affected people?
Sir, first of all, they have made the infrastructure in that region to more disaster resilient. And even before disaster, flood or whatever occur, if it was flood, they will be making flood defense so that it won't affect more. Anyway, they cannot prevent these disasters, especially in hilly and terrain areas. Disasters are occurring recurrently, so they cannot prevent these kind of disaster. What they can do is just minimize the loss. So they have created many disaster resilient housing, and also made the people grow more disaster resilient crop in that area.
Okay, I'm asking about the external support. See, for example, something has happened means, to their rescue, how the external system can further plan or support. Suddenly they lost their home, means home has to be constructed.
Yes, sir.
Then only they will think about the livelihood. First they have to survive, no?
Yes, sir. For housing and all, they have many schemes for giving compensation to these affected people. And we have Life Mission program in Kerala that will be giving housing. That means the government itself will be making houses for those who has lost home due to these natural disasters and all.
Last year on disaster happened.
Yes, sir, landslide has happened, sir.
All people are displaced now.
And they were displaced. They were
relocated.
Yes, sir. They were relocated to somewhere.
Where? Same area.
No, sir, not the same, because their whole things were lost. They have located to some nearby places.
Okay, what are the major schemes implemented in aftermath of this landslide?
Schemes, sir, in India.
From the state or central, what are the types of
In
schemes?
central government, we have Apta Mitra scheme. That means, as I already told, they will be selecting community volunteers from the community to act during disaster events. That is one. Apta Mitra scheme is one scheme. Then there is Apta Sakhi scheme also. That is for empowering women volunteers for the disaster management. These are for community level. And also there is for if some farmers have lost their crop or any during this disaster events, we have that Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. It will be helping those kind of farmers.
Okay.
This.
Any other queries from the students? Okay, there are
Thank you.
queries.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
And you have taken taken 44 minutes to present your topic, and blackboard research is around for 6 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, one small observation, references you have to check.
Okay, sir.
Okay. It's not alphabetic.